Hello everyone and welcome back to tomorrow's weather today. Today we have an update on our potential tropical system in the southwestern Atlantic that could form right off the coast of Florida and Georgia. Um, to start off, it has a 20% chance still for the next 2 days. Um, After the next 2 days, it should be on land. Um, the NHC is saying there's an elongated surface trough with an upper level disturbance, and a weak surface low has formed near the Orlando area. Heavy rain will be a concern, like we talked about yesterday. I will bring that up in the WPC forecast. Excessive rain, still a slight risk in southern Florida, and a marginal risk for the coast. Tomorrow, a slight risk for most of North Carolina and the northern half of South Carolina, and still a marginal risk through Georgia up to West Virginia, day 3, which is Thursday. Looking at the total quantitative precipitation, um, it's looking like anywhere maybe up to 3 inches at most in South Carolina. South Carolina is going to be getting the brunt of the rain in the next coming days. This is through Friday morning, um, 8 a.m. Friday morning for South Carolina. So if I move this out to day 1 through 5, there should be a little more. Yeah, so up to 4 inches looks likely, um, looks possible for South Carolina, parts of North Carolina. Taking a look at the satellite loop, I will leave links down to everything in the description below with the satellite um, and the radar that we're going to be looking at. So we can see a surface low right in here. You can see that spin in the low-level clouds in here. We have multiple mid-level lows. There's one up here, and they're both up here. Um, like I said yesterday, you can still see that shear. All the thunderstorms and convection is off to the eastern side, and you can see these high-level cirrus moving off to the north, while the surface winds are out of the southwest. Um, like I said, the surface low is right off the coast right now, as it looks like by satellite. So this does have time over water, so it does have a chance to develop. Um, and looking at the radar imagery from Mark Nissenbaum at FSU, a grad student, you can see our low is right in here with the twirl and the low-level showers. And we can see right in here there's one spin, and there's another spin up here, which is our mid-level lows um, that I was just talking about in the satellite imagery. Um, Going over to tropical tidbits, I just wanted to look at the ocean for a second. If we look to the western Atlantic, we can see that it has all right water to work with. If it was more in the Gulf Stream, it would have been better. But 25, 26 isn't horrible. It definitely could be warmer for tropical development as it moves off the coast. But this is a good thing. We don't want this to develop. We don't want the stronger winds because it causes damage. But regardless, heavy rain is possible. Looking at the GFS, so the 12Z GFS run is beginning to come out. It has that low pressure system over Florida right now with the heaviest rain off on the eastern side. Moving it ahead, it does try to develop it looks like, into at least a tropical depression as it moves up into South Carolina, and then it moves into the coast. This is going to be a quick system. Um, and let's look at our upper level trough like we were talking about yesterday, and the NHC is highlighting. So here it is. Here's our upper level trough. You can see the curvature and our winds out of the south up at 250 millibars is indicative of the shear that it is encountering. If we take an area sounding, we can see there's 40 knots of shear, um, which is a lot. And the NHC was talking about some dry air in the mid-levels, which is evident right there. The dew point is much lower than the temperature. And this upper level trough, there might be a point of lower shear right here. Let's take a look. 12 knots of shear. especially since it's moving with the system, because over here the system is moving out to sea, while the winds at 250 millibars are out of the south. And then here you can see that the low is moving this way, and so is the upper level winds, which even though there is stronger winds aloft, it's light on the shear. So then it moves in. Looking at the low level of vorticity, we can see it does try to close off. It's still not perfect as it is very elongated here. Um, it does look like it's closed off, but none of the wind barbs show it and it's still open. Um, in my view, even though this is closed off right there, looking up at 700 millibars for the same time, it's open. And then 500 millibars, it's probably open too, yeah. So I don't really expect this. If the GFS works out, I don't see this happening. And if we go to, this is forecast hour 18, if we go to 18 for simulated IR, it doesn't show that, but you can see this is disorganized. It's a very disorganized system, and it has no structure to it according to the GFS. Looking at the winds that are coming along with it, remember 34 knots, or 39 miles an hour, which is a tropical storm. We're seeing 20 to 28 knot winds here. Still open. This is as of right now, and it tries to get going. Doesn't look very good. If I take a sounding right here, let's see what winds is it showing. It is showing. Yeah, it's still showing that northwesterly wind on the side. You would like to see westerlies, just so it's closed off. And at that very point, there's 23 knots of shear at that given spot. And again, look, this is all weighted on the eastern side because of that shear that is on top of it. Now let's go over to the Canadian, like we did yesterday. 12Z is coming out right now. It has that low pressure system off the coast, and it moves it in, keeps it weak, and this is as far as the run goes out right now, because it is still coming out. 250 millibar winds, real quickly. Here's that upper level trough. Wind still over top of it, and then it moves accordance with it. I can't take soundings, unfortunately. I would take one and show the shear, but it is not possible. Again, looking very disorganized on satellite, on simulated satellite. Now let's go over to the European. This run is from this morning, 0Z. This is 18 hours out, so this is this afternoon. Showing a nice low pressure system off the coast of Florida, and then we move it ahead, and it bounces it around and brings it into Georgia, actually, which is the only model to do this of the three that we looked at. Looking at the winds at this very point, it has 20 to 30 knots of wind. Around this secondary low pressure system that's trying to develop, it has tropical storm force winds a little bit, 35 knots, 34 knots. But regardless, all the models are showing this heavy wind that is going to be coming onshore, which might cause some coastal flooding. I wouldn't say storm surge because it's not really storm surge, but it is onshore winds. Looking at the 200 millibar winds on the European, here's our trough right here. Here's our enhanced winds of 60 knots, which is a lot. It's a lot of shear for it to handle. It kind of dies off in this model, but there's still 50 knots of upper level winds, which will still tear the thunderstorms apart for the most part. So overall, I don't think this is going to develop at all. Let me check the current storms. They don't have it up. I really don't think this is going to develop. but you never know. This could be a quick spin up of a tropical depression. Um, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on those post notifications to never miss a new video. Thank you all for watching.